Is this on? Yes. Hi, everybody. James 1:2 says, "Count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet trials of various kinds. For you know the testing of your faith produces steadfastness." I would say it's been a tough year in terms of trials, not just for me, but for a lot of people. But this year has presented me with a number of personal trials that I'd like to share with you. This past October, my new-to-me 2007 GMC Sierra truck was stolen off the street in Denver while I was spending the night at my daughter's house. The good news is that it was later recovered. The bad news is that it had to be tested, something you guys probably don't know about, for methamphetamine contamination, which came back over double the amount allowed to be safe in order to repair. Because of that, it was considered a biohazard, and the insurance company deemed it a total loss. They were unwilling to pay me a fair replacement amount, and we remain in negotiation to resolve it. So I've had to rely on Gracie, my '89 Ford F-150, which has started having problems of her own. To add to that, my mechanic broke up with me, refusing to work on my truck anymore after an unsuccessful attempt to repair the gas gauge. After 3 years of enduring a broken and cut-off relationship with my son, he reached out, and we have begun a healing path, an answer to prayer for me as a mother. However, as a result, my daughter has now severed our relationship completely. Heartbreak for this mother. To continue, recently I began with a fellow educator searching for a special former student, only to discover that he had committed suicide. There are no answers, only questions. Then, on January 8th, my horse Gunner got sick and had to be euthanized. This has all been a lot and a struggle for me. But I understand I'm not alone. All of us undergo trials. This year, many among us have been impacted in some way by the 2 C's, COVID and cancer. My nephew, who is immunocompromised with MS, got a serious case of COVID and has since recovered. Many of us have contracted COVID, and loved ones among us have been lost due to disease and health. Some of you, like me, may have struggles within your own families. Also, many Coloradans literally lost everything they had in the Marshall Fire, their homes, vehicles, pets, and all their earthly possessions. My cousin Paul's house burned to the ground in that fire. These trials, however, pale in comparison to what is happening on the world stage to the people in Ukraine. My question and encouragement to you is this: what do we have as believers in our toolkit to survive the trials in our lives? How does God direct us through Peter and James? 1 Peter 4:12 says, "Beloved, do not be surprised at the fiery trial when it comes upon you to test you, as though something strange were happening to you. So expect trials, be prepared." 1 Peter 4:19 says, "Therefore, let those who suffer according to God's will entrust their souls to a faithful Creator while doing good." Trust God, He is faithful, keep doing good. 1 Peter 5, verses 8 and 9, "Be sober-minded, be watchful. Your adversary, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour. Resist him, firm in your faith, knowing that the same kinds of suffering are being experienced by your brotherhood throughout the world." So be sober-minded, be watchful, resist the devil, stand firm in your faith. James 1:12, "Blessed is the man who remains steadfast under trial, for when he has stood the test, he will receive the crown of life, which God has promised to those who love him." Steadfastness, on page 15 in our previous study guide, as defined in the original Greek, denotes the ability to carry, literally to remain under a heavy load for a long time. In the context of trials, steadfastness allows us to maintain calmness over the long haul and in the most difficult situations. So remain steadfast, persevere. James 1:2, Count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet trials of various kinds, for you know the testing of your faith produces steadfastness. Count it all joy, and again, remain steadfast. I have struggled with the count it all joy, especially in terms of my daughter, until I read this explanation from Christian writer Candace Cameron Burr about this verse, and I quote, "Joy is different from happiness. Happiness depends on circumstance, joy does not. Joy is a heart posture prepared to receive the circumstance. Joy is surrendered trust in the one who loves us." This makes such sense to me. I can do this. We have what it takes to endure these trials because God has given us the tools to do it and has promised He is with us through it. And we know He keeps His promises. I'd like to close with a quote from C.S. Lewis. "God, who foresaw your tribulation, has specially armed you to go through it, not without pain, but without stain." Let's close in prayer. Dear God, thank you for arming us with the tools we need to tackle trials, and that we can count it all joy by putting our trust in you. Amen.